Hello, I'm Mayor Pete Lewis of the City of Auburn. Welcome to another edition of Discover Auburn. Here with me today is John Theisen, who is the President and CEO of Orion Industries. Now, why that's important to us is Orion is in the middle of constructing a 100,000 square foot building in the City of Auburn that's going to bring 265 jobs to our community. And John, I know you've been named Boeing's Supplier of the Year, Subcontractor of the Year. There's quite a bit of story behind that, as well as Orion Industries itself. So first, how do you go about getting to be Boeing's Supplier for the Year?
Well, it's a pretty prestigious award. Orion was selected as the top supplier out of 17,000 suppliers in 52 countries. And it really is based on quality results, on-time delivery results, and high level of customer service and responsiveness. And Orion finished the year with essentially 100% on-time delivery, 100% quality, and high level of customer service. And that's after shipping over 1 million parts to Boeing over the course of the year.
1 million parts in the course of 1 year. That is amazing. You know, we've heard quite a bit about Orion, and we've talked with you for months and months getting ready for the construction. We've heard your commitment to workforce development. And how does Orion and workforce development work together?
Well, Orion likes to consider ourselves a social enterprise. So that is a business enterprise that supports a social mission. And our mission is to provide training and employment services to people with disabilities. We are a not-for-profit, but we're a self-supporting not-for-profit. And we support ourselves through the business enterprises. And we have two business enterprises, the aerospace manufacturing business and a call center. And so clients come to Orion and they train in one of those two business enterprises. And then once they're trained, we place them in community jobs.
Well, and you know, in working in the community and getting ready for this workforce development, you have to make an awful lot of ties to the community. And I've heard you've been reaching out quite a bit to that anyway, but that's going to be an ongoing feature for Orion Industries, isn't it?
Well, it is. We work with referral sources generally that refer clients with disabilities to us. And examples are the Washington State Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Veterans Administration, Labor and Industries, and then a host of community organizations. And so we maintain those relationships, but we also have to maintain relationships with community employers because, as I said, once a client has been trained, they're placed in a community job. So we have job developers who really act like salespeople, and they interface with community employers to help identify jobs for our graduates.
You know, we've heard quite a bit about how you do your work, and you're talking about training people, but how do you do it, and how many people are put to work in the community?
We placed over 110 people with significant barriers to employment in competitive jobs in the community in 2012. So if you think about it, the worst recession that we've seen in our lifetimes, and we placed 110 people with those barriers. What's really cool is once we place a client, we also track their retention rate with the employer. And we track at 90 days, at 6 months, and at a year. And our 1 year retention rate is 85%. So 85% of the people that we place are still in that job 1 year later. And that's a higher retention rate than most employers run if they hire their own people.
Wow. That's outstanding. Over 100 people in the middle of the Great Recession with an 85% retention rate. Those are some pretty startling statistics when you think about it, especially in today's markets, which we're not seeing quite that high of retention. You've got quite a big site there, 100,000 square feet. You're right off 15th Street on the northern side of our city. I know you're under construction. When do you figure you're going to be able to be open and operating?
Our construction date calls for a move-in the end of December, and assuming the weather cooperates, we should be able to make that date. Yeah, I was going to mention also the thing that's really great about that site is the fact that it's right out of Park and Ride. And we worked really hard. It took 2 years to find a site like this, and it was due to the hard work of the city of Auburn to work with us to make this site work. But you can imagine a 100,000 square foot building in an area zoned to accept light industrial in a city core. There aren't very many of those sites. We had an extra requirement, and that was to have a dynamic transportation quotient for our clients with disabilities, because many of them don't drive. So our clients are going to be able to walk right out the front door and have access to a park and ride. And then that park and ride is connected to the Auburn train station, so it really opens up our services to clients in Seattle and Tacoma also.
You know, and I know you talked about it with our folks as well, but that really was an excellent part of your whole business plan. And it was dynamic transportation quota that you were quotient that you were talking about. And making that part of your system, an integral part of that, really does make a difference. And it was one of the reasons that Auburn was really excited to be having you here. You know, you're working hard on your development. You do have to depend quite a bit on the weather in December, but I know that you're going to be really welcome here. This is an exciting community that's been moving forward, and the kind of development you're doing is well suited to Auburn. So when you were looking around, what first drew you to Auburn?
We, due to the DVR offices that we serve, the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, we serve 4 offices, and so we really looked at the Federal Way, the Kent, and the Auburn areas. They've got either bus terminals or train stations. So the formula really was to be within walking distance of either the Federal Way Transit Center, the Kent train station, or the Auburn train station. And so we worked with economic development in each of those communities. And I got to say that we found Auburn to be much more collaborative and creative in working with us on sites. And I would imagine after 2 years of looking with very little success that if Auburn hadn't come up with this site, we wouldn't have been able to fulfill that site requirement.
As we mentioned from time to time, we might not have a lot of money, but we really are creative.
You are. Yeah.
And we like working with you. I think you're going to be an excellent business partner with the city of Auburn. And I think generations of people of Auburn and the surrounding community are going to benefit from having an industry like yours in our city. We're proud to have you here, and I think we're going to have a great relationship. So thank you very much on the part of the city for choosing Auburn for your new facility.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that was pretty interesting, and I thank you for joining us on another segment of Discover Auburn. If you have someone you'd like to see us talk to, please give us a call. Have a good day.